everyone that's new. I am new at speaking in front of everyone, so please bear with me. Just a few housekeeping rules. Please don't holler at our speakers or myself because no one wants that. And we're also live streaming tonight, so if you don't want to be on camera, please let us know. I am hosting tonight, as well as Jeremy, who is the founder of DataCove. If you post on social media, it'd be great to use our hashtag DataCove Network. To take some photos. Of course, don't take photos of people that do not want to be in them, please. So after I finish talking, we'll be joined by Dylan, who will be talking about how you can use your technical expertise to empower SME growth. We'll have a quick break where you can get more drink if you would like. Oskar will then take the stage and he will talk about data science in the AI age. Jeremy will do a quick outro, and then we are all relocating to the pub down the road. So a little bit about DataCove. We are Python and Shiny experts, specializing in marketing and consumer analytics, data visualization and web application, and community and training. Which brings us nicely onto our communities over the country. So we do these events in Bristol, London, Manchester, Brighton, Birmingham and Portsmouth. This wouldn't be possible without our lovely supporters at Eagle Labs, Silicon Brighton, and of course Platform 9. If Andy would love to come up and talk a bit more about Eagle Labs, that'd be great.
Thank you. Okay, so welcome guys, welcome to Platform 9, welcome to Barclays Eagle Labs. This is our new home from now on. So if you've got a business and you're looking for support, Barclays Eagle Labs can help you. So we've got a community page where you can load your business onto the page. Anyone within the UK, Northern Ireland as well, can actually view your business and they can make contact with you. We've also got the academy pages, so if you want a bit of information, you want a bit of knowledge, log on to the academy, bite-sized pieces of training. If anyone wants to know a bit more, come and speak to me. I should be sitting at the back. But have a great evening tonight. It's great to be here to support Jeremy with his event, so enjoy. And that's it. Thank you.
Yep, and then we have Cam from Silicon Brighton.
Sweet, thank you very much. Hey everyone, my name's Cam. I work for Silicon Brighton. We're the hosts of Brighton & Hove's digital tech sector. In addition to the Brighton Data Intelligence Network, which is new to say, we also support loads of other meetups locally that run their events here, Platform Hove, along with many other lovely spaces that look after us. So yeah, if you're keen and interested in the digital tech communities of Brighton Hove, which I hope you all are, then come to another event. We are supported by loads of local businesses that are our supporters, one of them being Eagle Labs, which was previously mentioned, which have looked after us incredibly well, facilitating us loads of venues, as well as supporting us for our huge conference Evolve. We are also sponsored by a number of companies, which we're hugely appreciative of, which allow us to do all that we do. We have James Chase, Plus Accounting, More Law, and Alirity. And then lightly touched upon just before, the Evolve 26 conference. It is the culmination of all of Brighton & Hove's digital tech sectors coming together for a fantastic celebration. This year on the 26th of June at the Brighton Centre. Last year we were at the Dome. It was brilliant. I can see plenty of people that were there who thoroughly enjoyed it. So tap someone on the shoulder, say, what did you think of Evolve? And they'll probably give a glowing review, more so than I could, because I was running around making sure the stages were working. But tonight we've got a discount code as well with Brighton R, previously known Brighton R, where it's a half price ticket. It goes from £40 to £20, and then £10 of that ticket goes back to the community to pay for food, drink, and many other things. I believe that's me, so thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this evening. Apart from our Slack channel, which is available here, everyone comes together on the Slack channel, asking questions, post-event, like loads of job opportunities there as well, just all good around general community fun, as well as links to our YouTube channel, which is where we live stream to as well, which has a whole host of our events and talks available to watch afterwards. It's always nice to see a few phones go up. That is actually me, so thank you very much.
Great. So now we have Dylan coming up to give his talk.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, go on then. That was next one. Okay. Cool. So thanks for having me here tonight. Thanks to Jeremy for inviting me down to speak. And thank you to BrightonPy, Eagle Labs, Data Cove, and Silicon Brighton for hosting us. Looking forward to chatting to you after my talk. So I've been to a few of these events. I've seen people do like technical demonstrations. The case study that I've been working with is with a local football club. So the data I'm working with is confidential, so I can't be going into it. But I thought I'd talk a bit more about theory, a bit more about philosophy of working with SMEs, with the skill sets that we have in this room, and using that to sort of empower local SMEs. So it's a bit of a different one today. Cool, so here's the contents. We're going to have a bit of an intro, some framing, how to get you in the headspace that I'm in so you can receive the information good. Some theory, I've come up with my own groundbreaking theory, and then the case study of me working at the football club. Cool. Okay, nice. So I want to start with my mood board. I've had quite a busy few weeks at work because it's coming up to tax year end and I work in finance, so I've just been given unrealistic deadlines for the last month or so. I would have had some pictures in here otherwise, but I've got some words, so hopefully you can get a general sense of it. So the sort of ethos I want to come into this presentation with is one of like aspiration. We all do coding here, lots of us do coding in our free times. We're using it to solve problems to improve. I think we all share that value in this room. A bit of hope, you know, it can be difficult at the minute with the media ramming negativity down our throats all the time. There's loads of negative press about AI and technology and the bad impacts it can have on society, but got to remember to be hopeful about the positive change it can make as well. A bit of self-belief, so I'm going to be talking about putting yourself in front of SMEs, which requires a bit of self-belief. Some people in this room have their own companies, so they sort of embody that. In order to start that journey, you need to back yourself a bit. And then just sitting in the realm of possibility and being wide-eyed, open to new opportunities and being excited. The key takeaway here is that everyone in this room has some expertise that I'm 100% confident can be used in SMEs locally and regionally to bring them some value and add value. And often you can do this in a sector you might be passionate about. Finance and marketing see the biggest growth in technology quite often, but there could be cool sectors in the arts and things like that. They're a bit more underserved, so some of the skills in this room can help them. But yeah, again, this isn't a technical lecture. It's just a bit about theory. It's a bit about philosophy. Cool. So I'm looking for a show of hands at the minute. So I'm thinking there's going to be these three groups of people in the room. So I'd love to see a show of hands if we've got any beginners in the room who've been coding for up to a year. Can I get a show of hands if we've got any beginners in the room? Okay, cool. So I'm going to go to you. So what's your name? We're getting a bit of interaction. So hi, we've got Ola. Good to meet you. I'm Dylan. Cool. So Ola, can you tell me something that you've been impressed with in your first year of learning coding? What's something you've done that you've been really impressed with?
The first thing I was impressed, it was that I can find the information much more easier than I did it before with the help of Excel. So these modern tools are amazing.
Yeah, big time.
So impressive.
Okay, I love to hear that. Yeah, there's lots of information out there now, and the tools that we have are always improving, always changing, and the possibilities are pretty impressive what they can do. I'm thinking there's a few people in the room as well that might work with data and technology in their professional job. Can I get a show of hands, any of these people? Cool, so we've got one here. So what's your name? My eyes are a bit bad, apologies. Oskar, good to meet you. Dylan. So Oskar, what are you able to talk to me about something quite challenging in your job, like one of the most challenging projects you've worked on that you've overcome, and how you're able to do it?
Job hunt.
SharePoint.
Job hunting.
Job hunting. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Did you use any technology or AI to help you with the job hunt?
All of them.
Yeah.
Approximately all of them. Yeah.
Okay, and then you managed to be.
For CV crafting,
Cool,
for
cool.
Matching job adverts, for preparing for code interviews.
Yeah, that's perfect. And that would have taken way more time if it was to be done like 5 years ago, right? So that's it. These tools
It would
can
be very
be.
different, yeah.
It would have been different. So we can already see the tools benefiting people in the room. The final group, I think we've got people who are like business owners or freelancers. Do we have any of these in the room? So I'm going to go with Jeremy. Jeremy. So Jeremy, I'd love for you to be able to tell me and the group about what one of the biggest barriers to entry for starting your own business and how you managed to overcome that.
God, one of them.
Yeah.
Business. I think possibly the biggest barrier for. I can see you. They've also given me the mic, which is dangerous because I drop things like this. One of the biggest barriers, I think, is to starting a business knowing where your first bit of income is going to come from. It's very difficult to leave the comfort and the safety of full-time employment and think, I'm now going to go out on my own. How am I going to earn money? And I think the first thing that anyone should do is almost map out, what does my first 6 months look like? Where's my income going to come from? Who in my network do I know that could help me as well? Because a lot of the work that we get, it's recommendation, it's word of mouth, so it's through the network. Who can I call upon to really help me start and grow this business? If you can answer the question of what does your first 6 months look like and you feel comfortable with it, that's a good time to start thinking, I could go out and do this myself.
That's a really good answer. I like the contrast there as well. Like in the early stages of the journey, we're using technology to help us, but it's interesting that when Jeremy's starting his own business, it's more about the community. It's less about the actual technological solutions, more about the community that you're building and the relationships you're creating, which is a point I'll touch on later. So thanks for the contributions. Apologies for sort of, throwing that on you unexpectedly, but it was good to meet some of you just then. A little bit about me. I'm from Brighton, born and raised. I work here, work in London as well. I actually work out of Platform 9, so I often sit just down there in the corridor. And I started coding in lockdown. So I started out with scrapers and crawlers, where I was always trying to collect data online, automate stuff with the hope of earning loads of money. Not managed to do it just yet. I'm confident it's gonna come one day true though. 6 years I've been working in data, working in marketing and finance, so I've seen how they use data to help with CRM campaigns, generating new business, avoiding retention issues, that sort of stuff, using lots of Excel as well. Platform 9 resident, so I was in between jobs a few months ago. I signed up at Platform 9 here on an introductory offer, me and my friend, and I was quite impressed with the community here. You've got a lot of people that are self-believers here, a lot of people that work freelance, they work with a few of their friends. They decided they didn't want to work in big companies where maybe there's a bad environment, and a lot of interesting conversations you have just over coffee with people here. So it's quite a positive space, which after joining here inspired me to reach out to companies myself and try and curate the path that I might want. Never have enough time, always coming up with cool data projects, cool little hacks to make, and as soon as I finish one, there's another 5 ready to take their place. Still struggling to stay afloat. I'm 6 years in my career. I'm earning more money, but I feel like I had more money when I used to work in a call centre when I was a kid, because the cost of living just keeps going up. So I'm looking to generate money on the side if I can. And at the minute, I'm looking to bring clients, add additional income, which is what this is sort of about. Cool. So the next thing, responsibility. So we've all in this room got a responsibility to ourselves. I can see everyone in this room is doing that because we're spending our free time to be in this network, talking about coding, talking about data and stuff like that. So we're all fulfilling that criteria. I think we have responsibility to things you love, like other interests outside of coding that you might be passionate about. Could be music, film, sports, these sort of things. As often they might not have technology solutions in them, there could be areas for you to help improve those sectors and areas that you love. And then finally for society, so people in the media love to talk about how there's an erosion of community. I think we're sort of showing that's not the case. Social isolation with people being more online, and also large MNCs that have all the resources. They're the people that can benefit most from AI and technology. So this is about working with small companies to sort of give them a bit of an edge as well. Cool, so a bit about you. Back in the day, people used to sort of do 6-month internships where they'd work for free. Their parents might fund them or something if they're lucky. But you can do this yourself. You can be your own intern by offering services to SMEs to work for free in order to get exposure in those industries. Can you identify and solve a problem? We all do this at work anyway. We all solve problems for our professional company on a daily basis, so why can't you do that for yourself? Are you able to generate revenue? I work with data. I noticed at work I was able to generate revenue through CRM, managing media campaigns, new business and sign-ups. And can you save time using automations, using stuff learned with AI to save time for a business? And then this brings me on to my theory, Dill's theory of growth. 2025, came up with this last year. So the theory is really just about getting your foot in the door of an industry that you might be passionate about and getting exposure in that industry in order to hopefully long-term make money in an industry you're passionate about, doing some tech stuff that everyone in this room does. So cool. So here's my theory. So my theory is this, right? You've got revenue on one axis. It's quite a simple graph, right? Revenue on one axis, references on the other axis. So revenue, the amount you can generate from working with SMEs. If you work with them a bit longer, you might be able to make them money, get a percentage of that yourself. At first, you can do something really quick and easy. It doesn't take you a lot of time to add some value. References, the more references you get in an industry that you might be interested in, you're increasing the chance of getting work within the industry. And then projects too. So, you know, you can have an easy P1 project that is just a foot in the door, a simple automation. You could have some P2 project generating money for a company, demonstrating value to them. And finally, you know, the end goal would be a project that generates money for both you and the company, and then everyone's winning. So I'm going to go through a few scenarios, right, of how this could pan out. If you were to bear with me, you know, often you might think, well, if it doesn't go my way, but in my head there's only these 3 scenarios, and they're all pretty positive. Scenario A is a worst case, a crying face. So in scenario A, you're not able to get any paid work just yet. However, if you're to reach out to a few of these companies and get your foot in the door with some simple automations or little jobs for them, the benefit is you're going to have a low time commitment. These will all be quite quick things to do. And then you're going to get loads of references in an industry that you really enjoy. The negative side is probably not as much money. Scenario B, perfect match. Love this one, love heart. In scenario B, you connect with your perfect match. This isn't Tinder, but you get sparks and profit for that perfect match. The benefit is you can make money for them. You can have a deep relationship working with them long term. And you can get mentorship working in an industry that you really care about. A negative would be you've got less exposure to other companies which have different experiences. And then hypothetical scenario C could be it took some time but it all worked out. So in this scenario, you know, you start with your first company, it doesn't work out, but you can use that same task at the second one. You might be able to generate them some money, but that doesn't work out, and eventually in the third company you're finally able to make them and yourself some money in this third company. And the benefit for that is you're able to fulfill the goal of making some money for yourself. You get great market exposure, you get plenty of experience in solving problems. Really in business all it's about is can you solve a problem that someone else doesn't want to do or doesn't have time to do and get paid for it. Cool. So my approach here was a bit of an outreach on LinkedIn. So I basically was looking to work with football clubs, and I reached out to 10 different football clubs on LinkedIn and chose 10 different contacts on them. And I definitely didn't automate any of this, and you definitely shouldn't automate messaging people on LinkedIn through a scraper and Python. The law of averages normally with marketing and sales, you're able to convert from 1 to 5% in a typical business. So if you're just to drop a message to 100 people who are in this industry that you might like on LinkedIn, really you're going to get up to 5 people responding to you. That's exactly what happened to me. I reached out to local football clubs and I managed to get my foot in the door of Worthing Football Club, which is a town that's next to Brighton. You know, in reality, if you reach out to 100 contacts on LinkedIn, you will get someone coming back to you. And if you don't, it might be because you're reaching out to the wrong person. If I was reaching out to, you know, contacts at Manchester United, I might not get heard back from. I chose an SME as it's a bit more realistic. And then, yeah, people want to help. Everyone in this room is kind. Think of yourself. If someone was to reach out to you and ask for a bit of advice, a bit of mentorship, I think most people in this room would probably be happy to give them a message, you know, give them a little bit of time so other people can be the same as well. Cool, so the sector I was looking at was football clubs. I chose that because they've got massive growth in data. I work in the data field. There's a massive glass ceiling, so you've got Brighton Football Club who have aspects of data everywhere from on and off the pitch, tracking the football players' performance, tracking their market value, all this sort of stuff. But it seemed impossible to get a foot in the door at these clubs. There's also loads of local communities. So even in a smaller football club who's in 5th or a 6th league, they might have 4,000, 5,000 yearly attendees. So they're a great audience to work with there. And then there's loads of really interesting case studies we've seen of like Wrexham, where they've taken them, they've been promoted 5 years in a row. It's now worth £500 million or something in the club. And more recently, Dagenham and Redgrave, who are in the same league as Worthing, who I'm working with, they got bought by KSI, who I don't know if you guys know him. He's a cringy YouTube influencer, but he's bought Dagenham and Redgrave and he's trying to transform them as well. So there's a lot of precedent for using data, using technology in football clubs to improve them, even though sports typically wasn't, a data-centered industry. So I'm working with Worthing FC. They're a brilliant club. They're disability confident. The Worthing CEO, after I reached out to a few clubs, so I was speaking to a few, I chose to work with them as the CEO is disabled himself, had a car crash, and with the money, he bought the football club. And after hearing his story, I was so impressed. I just thought, I have to work with this guy. He put it all on the line with this football club and is an advocate for being disability confident in an industry where, lots of people might not be. So they're a pretty good cause to work with. Cool. And then finally, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my roadmap, what I'm trying to do with the club. Like, as I said earlier, this is just from a point of aspiration. I'm not coming here saying I've made thousands of pounds from the club yet. I will do. I'll bet you that. So at the moment, I've done some automating of reporting, something like Holm would be able to do in Excel, just doing some normal reporting for them. They had their data a bit mixed around all over the place. I've just got it in one central place for them and taken that off his hands. I've set up an automated job in Google Scripts, which I'd never done before, but ChatGPT sort of helped me to figure out how to do it. And now he used to spend an hour, 2 hours every match day doing this report. Now I do that for him, and I've saved him some time. The next step we're working on at the moment is centralising their data to help improving decision making, consolidating their data from all these different platforms, social media, everything, to help attract brand partnerships. And then finally, in the long run, I want to be able to take over some email marketing for them, helping to bring back customers who might have only been to a few games in the season and that sort of thing. So that's my long-term vision for working with the club. And then what if you put yourself out there to work with an SME? You've worked, a bit of time for free. What if the relationship ends? Like, you'll be feeling pretty sad about that, right? There's no need to, as you've helped out in an area that you love and are passionate about. I care about football. I was never good when I was a kid, but I was definitely watching it all the time. So even if the relationship was to end, I've helped out in an area I love. I've helped them digitally upskill a bit, coming into the modern age. Also, getting a reference from a football club might help me get work in other football clubs. Learning how to problem solve, learning how to take a problem that you've never encountered before and solve it is a great skill to have. And then finally, you have more time to approach other SMEs. Yeah, and then there could be some negatives as well if it doesn't work out. It could be that I'm sitting on the sofa eating ice cream and watching Netflix for a few days, but we'll get over it in the end, so that's all good. So the final thoughts I want to leave you with is everyone in this room has some technical skills that can really benefit some companies and industries that you care about. So have a think about that if that's something you're interested in. Anything you can do at work in your professional job, you can replicate for smaller companies and do on your own. You're your own personal library. Once you've figured out how to solve problems, you can solve that problem again and again and again. This is a good example of helping to use AI technology for positive change. AI isn't all doom and gloom as they want us to believe. And then, my belief is it's really good to help out SMEs in an increasingly MNC, Amazon-dominated world. So I want to say thanks a lot for having me. Looking forward to chatting to you, some of you later, and looking forward to the next talk as well.
hang on. Don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
There might be some questions.
Oh, go on then.
Oh, you picked on the audience. They've got to pick back on you. So,
Fair play.
anybody got any questions? And if Dylan picked on you, I'll let you ask the first question. He got no questions for Dylan. Oh, there we go. We got one at the back. So we're streaming online on YouTube. So if I can ask you to hold the mics.
Hi, Dylan. Thanks for the presentation. I'm just I'm interested in the your marketing side of things. My background is marketing, and I also love data. So I just want to pick your brains in terms of the evolving of marketing and data science. And how if you ever in that space where you are using your data brain with your marketing, and I'm not talking about normal social media data analysis that we usually get from those things, but I'm talking about more deeper analytics.
With data science and things like this?
Yes.
Yeah, at work we use an AI tool, and we're using AI to basically do segmentation of our customer base and things like that. So yeah, I use some of that as well. Yeah, it's definitely powerful to use, and I think as well with the AIs that are at the minute, with Claude ChatGPT, you can do lots of data stuff and marketing that you couldn't do, a few years ago. It's really good as well. But we have to have a bit of chat with you after as well if you wanted. Good. Any more questions?
Oh, now the hands are going up. There we go. Sophie.
Thank you so much.
My name is Michael.
Yep, Michael, met you earlier.
Hang on. Oh, there's a mic. Okay, the mic. Okay. Question: you've been working, you said 6 years.
Correct.
Building your business.
Correct. Not to build my own business. I've been working it for
Working at it, okay.
4 businesses. Yeah.
Okay, but my question is, if you had to start all over again, what would you do differently to do things quicker?
That's a good question. Figure out how to automate stuff. Figure out how to automate things that are easy quicker, I think. So you can definitely do that with all the technology we have available at the moment. Like, you might have a lot of small businesses manage their data in Google Sheets and things like this. There's loads of add-ons with Gemini and with ChatGPT where you can figure out how to automate some of the tasks that you're doing manually a lot quicker, which if you can do that leaves you to spend your time on more complicated problem solving, which in the long run, the more complicated problems you can solve, the quicker growth you're going to see. So yeah, automating some of the Excel sheets, that sort of stuff for sure. Automating, building the CVs to save time for actually the job interviews, so you're spending your time in the best way. I think automation for me, that would be the one.
So you're saying to improve your usage of tools, basically speaking?
Yeah, definitely improve the usage of AI in the simplest way that it can be used, and just the sort of bits that might be like admin bits, traditionally would be admin bits, using AI to save time to do them.
What about partnerships?
With the outreach for different companies?
Well, working together with another company in synchrony or whatever it is, some
Yep.
sort of partnership which increases your market exposure.
Yeah, definitely. Working with SMEs could be a great way to increase exposure to, to new industries, and work with partnerships. I guess you could use automation for outreach on LinkedIn, this sort of stuff, to get yourself in front of more potential partners, and then you could save that time so that you're spending time on preparing your pitch as opposed to doing the outreach, manually. Is that good?
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, though. It's a good question.
Thank you so much. Hi, Dylan. You mentioned when you were doing the outreach
Yep.
that you reached out to 100 people to
Correct,
begin with.
yeah.
How did you deal with the kind of setback and ghosting of people just not responding?
There
how
was
did that affect you? And,
There was definitely a lot of that, and there was a few tricky ones where I thought I nearly had connections that, someone from Brentford got back to me who, if you know your football, they're in the Premier League, so I was thinking, I've made it, definitely. So I had to humble myself, but I think you just have to be aware that it's literally just the law of averages. And if you get to the 100 and everyone's ghosted you, you might have to rethink your strategy. You might have to be more realistic about your targets. But if you've got the right targets, someone eventually will get back to you. So you've just got to be patient and resilient and have a bit of self-belief, and it should come true in the end. And I think a lot of the small business owners in Platform 9 who I met were a lot of the reason why I found it easy to hang in there, because they're clear examples of having done it themselves and it did work out, sort of thing.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, all good.
Is there a question on this side? Did I see a hand before? Last questions for Dylan? Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Dylan. That was a really insightful and I think for the audience useful talk. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
We are going to have a 2, maybe even 5-minute break for a tech change for the next talk. There is some more drink at the back, so do help yourselves to another drink, and we will shout and scream when you need to sit down again. So thank you. last couple of people. There we go. That was excellent work. People just managed to find their seats quite easily. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Thank you for allowing us a little technology change as per these events. I am delighted to welcome our second speaker of the evening to the stage. So we've got Oskar Holm tonight, and he's going to be talking about data science in the AI age. Oskar.
Thank you. Yeah, hello. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for putting this together. I'm very happy to talk to you, and especially about this topic. My name is Oskar Holm. I was a data scientist for just over 10 years, but I have recently started a new role as lead AI engineer at a consultancy. And what I'm going to be talking about is not vetted by my employer. This is my opinion and my opinion alone, not shared by my employer Eficode, though they should be. What I would like to talk to you about is data science. And I define data science as the sort of the unveiling of insight and the generation of new knowledge from data sets. And often, most typically in the business context. So starting from data sets, that means it's evidence-based, and in the business context means it is bottom line impact driven. Typically, data scientists are regarded as a technical role. But to me, the platonic ideal of a data scientist is a buffer, a translator, an intermediary, one with one foot in the very messy world of business, with all the messy realities of the world, and with the other foot in the messy world of data systems. They don't accurately represent reality. Engineered data systems are messy in their own way. And it's this combination of strengths in both domains that gives the data science its superpower. However, there's a change coming to, well, basically all knowledge workers, but data scientists in particular, or data professionals in particular. And that's the impact of agentic AI. And this is not trivial or ephemeral. This is ubiquitous and permanent. This change is coming, and well, good luck avoiding it. So each data scientist now has to figure out how to take advantage of these new extremely strong capabilities without being waylaid by the fog of hyperbole and fear and concern, worry. And you have to balance these strong capabilities, against their associated flaws. They have deep flaws. And with that comes risks. And I just want to emphasize that what I'm talking about here is agentic AI. I'm not talking about the 2017 transformer AI revolution. That's ancient history now. I'm not talking about the November 2022 chatbot revolution. That's also ancient history by now. I'm specifically talking about the agentic coding agent, the coding agent revolution of 2025 that we're still in the throes of, that has had several boosts in the year of 2026 already. And this is quite different from the previous chatbots. It's my view. This is where the large language models finally show their potential, the true potential to change our work. So, what does it mean? Well, moving from chatbots to AI agents is shifting from the outdated prompt engineering, which is so 2024. It's over. Over to the modern and powerful context engineering. And by context engineering, I'm talking about coming up, so if you think about what the prompt engineering was about, that was all about coming up with this correct incantation to get the chatbot to solve your problem. It was generally one shot or maybe a few shot examples, but it was one-way pass-through. Now, this intricate scaffold that I'm talking about, that's sort of like placing the LLM brain inside a skull with sensory organs and limbs and muscles. It harnesses the intelligence, guides it, delimits its scope, instructs it, and empowers it with external tools. While giving it memory and better control. I'm not sure if you can, on the way back, if you can read all this text. But with the proper harness and scaffolding, the AI agent can, unlike the chatbots of yesteryear, well done. Well done. I was starting to argue with myself. You're providing it tools, like interacting with a browser. You are providing it with memory, with up-to-date documentation. This isn't a one-way pass-through interaction. This is iterative interaction with the model. And the benefits of that, you can be much more carefully crafting of what you're expecting the model to do, what outcomes you are striving towards. And the loop, the iteration loop, can be made really tight within a minute, and the control that you gain by it can be automated to a certain extent. Now, let's see this in action. So I grabbed a few test cases. So these are 3 data challenges I happen to have the data files for. And the first one was on matching personas. And the input data here is a table of providers, table of seekers and their properties, their respective properties, and a table of successful matches. And the task is to train a recommendation engine. Find the properties of providers and seekers and find segmentations within the providers and seekers that are likely to form a successful match. And the second test case is propensity to upgrade. You have a table of subscribers, you have subscription histories, and platform engagement and usage data. And here the task is to predict who upgrades to a higher tier subscription. And the third one is propensity to buy. You get details of a list of accounts with their properties, and including whether they purchased, a flag that tells them whether purchased or not purchased. And you're to predict the feature or the feature combinations that are likely to lead to purchase. So these are very simple data projects. You get them, they start as a CSV file or a set of CSV files, and you'll probably agree that these are rather standard data science challenges in the field. Now, everything in this talk could be equally performed with OpenCode or Gemini CLI or Claude Code or Codex or GitHub or Windsurf or any of them. I happen to use Claude Code, And there are many reasons to choose Claude Code. Here is one of them. Here's one of the reasons that I like. It is the least susceptible to bullshit. It is, if you feed it nonsense input, this benchmark measures what is the proportion of time that the model will push back rather than just swallow what you sent it and spin tokens, churn away all your tokens, trying to come up with a nonsense answer to a nonsense question. And if you check the leaderboard here, Claude Sonnet 4.6, Claude Opus 4.6, Claude Opus 4.5, Claude Haiku 4.5, Claude Sonnet 4.5. These are the top 5 positions, followed by Quen 3.5, a Chinese open weights model, free model. Run it on your own hardware. And Kimi K2, another Chinese free weights model, followed by Claude Opus 4.1. Only in position 9 does GPT enter. So this is one of the benchmarks that Claude does really well on. And I've sort of slightly tested this ability by giving, accidentally, I admit, Claude some half-baked input, and it pauses. It doesn't run away, churns tokens to try to answer. It says, hey, it looks like your message got cut off. Please finish your thought before we continue. Now, to be fair, Claude is as sycophantic as all the other ones. It's trained in a very, it's this American can-doism and very happily positive, but it at least does push back a little bit. Right. Okay. So let's start talking about the harness that we're going to need. The first is the instruction file. It's called Claude.md in my case. It could be agents.md or Gemini.md. This is the basic instruction, and it's just a plain English Markdown file, Markdown format, and it's important information about your project, so project specific and important. Make it concise, because this is run in every iteration in the conversation, so you want to make sure that in order not to clog your context. And it should describe what the project is and why, and what is your goal with the project, but not how. It should not be prescriptive. That is a matter of the model's discovery. If you find writing this hard, you can just start with a README file and then do /init and let Claude write this file for you. If you do, you'll find it's very verbose. So I usually go into it afterwards and cut it down until I learned that I could just like /init, have Claude create a verbose file, and then say, Claude, could you summarize that and subtract it? And it did. Here is an example file for the matching personas case. It tells you what this is for. A handful of points at the bottom. I like my dates in ISO 86001 format. Never edit the raw files. Instructions like that. It's a starting point. The next thing that you want to do is give your agent some skills. You want to share your knowledge of data science with this agent specifically. Again, be concise. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't make this too wordy, because again, this is read into your context. But skills have this magic ability of being progressively disclosed. So the most important part of the skill is the front matter, where you define what this skill is and when Claude should use it. Then Claude will determine at what point it needs to read more and learn this skill the way you want this specific task done. So this is a specific when to plus how to. And then you provide example code. Typically, in my case, I just grabbed that from my previous project. Or if you're using Claude Code, there is an actual creator skill. So it's getting very meta. You're using Claude to build its own harness for you to guide your model and constrain its spending of tokens. Here's an example of a skill. This is how I declare to Claude how I want my data science projects done in Python. And so description is, use this when you're setting up, structuring, or executing data analysis or data science projects in Python. And that covers ingestion, profiling, exploratory data analysis, transformation, modeling, and evaluation. And it's a 10-step listing of these are the steps I take. These are just the steps that I take when I am doing data science projects. This is just writing down my own process and taking the sharing with the model my folder structure similar to cookie cutter folder structure. I specify that one of the things that I want in the output is a Streamlit dashboard showing the results and doing the data story of the storytelling of the models that come out. And so how do I want these dashboards? I'm very fond of dark mode, so I make sure that it uses correct, uses my specific color palette and has a sidebar. I've learned that Streamlit doesn't like it if you name your views pages. That works in Shiny, that doesn't work in Streamlit. Claude it did in fact make that mistake, but that breaks the Streamlit, so I have here a pitfall in the skill, do not do and why not to do, and then some conventions that I like. And then the next thing is tool use. You want to make your agent able to call on tools to get specific information that is needed in the context as it's working. And you do that with the model context protocol, but you use these sparingly. These are not progressively disclosed. These are swallowed whole hog into your context window. So, but this gives you access to some external, up-to-date information and relevant. And the only one that I needed was the context 7. That just gives me documentation of the latest libraries in the exact version-specific documentation, depending on what I pulled into my particular virtual environment. Now, I was tempting to adding a diagramming tool, for draw.a or xcalidraw, and to add a playwright for browser use, but turned out I didn't need them, and so I postponed adding them until I never needed them. Last thing here is adding guardrails. Again, large language models are like very fluffy clouds. They're very flexible. They can take in all kinds of input, and they are capable of producing all kinds of outputs. We do not want all kinds of output. We want to build this harness in order to direct this cloud into a productive direction. And one of those things is you have to set some guardrails for the models. Do not edit the raw files is one. Maintain test coverage is another. Use these tools. You're allowed to use these tools. You're not allowed to use these tools. And notify me at the context window being explored. One easy way to implement guardrails is via hooks. Hooks is basically deterministic code that the model will trigger under certain circumstances. Basically, if this, then that. So you can use that for error handling, and this saves tokens because it's, again, deterministic. Here's an example hook. It basically says after you've written a Python file, go ahead and run the linter. And then, now finally, is the prompting bit. Now, if you were doing this with ChatGPT chatbot mode, this is where you'd be starting. You'd be starting with trying to communicate what we have already constrained in the model at this point. Now, again, I would argue that it helps to be concise. When I take on a new project, I always started in planning mode. You should always start in planning mode, I think. In planning mode, you have the agent tackle the project at the largest, at end-to-end project, and just consider it from end to end. What are the components needed? Which of these components can be run simultaneously? What is the dependency graph of the components and tasks that you need to do? Don't argue, align. So this may be superstition. I'm not 100% sure, but this is a long time ago in the 2022 or something, in the ancient history. I just heard this and I just believed it, and I haven't really challenged it since, that if you have a chatbot and you have a conversation with a chatbot and you give it a question and it gives you an answer and you go back, nah, that's not quite right, you've made a mistake here and this is an error, and then it gives you another answer and it's better or it's closer, or it's, it takes into account what you just said, but it still contains an error. And the reason here is you've created a pattern. You've created a pattern of question, answer with an error, refinement, answer with an error. You created that cyclic pattern. So I believe the models are much better now. So it may not be an issue. However, just for my own sakes, I just feel a lot better aligning the model. So I tend to not argue with the model when I see errors. I use we a lot. I just say we are doing a project and we have to solve this problem and we have to do this differently. Again, it sounds superstitious when I say it. And then you typically don't finish everything up in a single session. Or if you do, you will come back to it and you want to do some improvements. And at that point, it would be good if you had somewhere lessons learned during the journey so far. And you do that with a lessons markdown file. And you keep it updated as you stumble on things with the model and correct it. This avoids repeating of the mistakes. I showed you an example before of the Streamlit dashboards. Now, in order to carry these insights across from different sessions, you may use the resume, and with the UUID of the previous session. But what happens then? All the context window is carried across. And you'll see, I get paranoid as soon as I cross the 50% mark, but you really don't want to fill your context window. You will get context rot and problems with the output on that. Two ways you can handle that. One is, save lessons and restart or clear the context, or you can compress it. In this case, this 59% context window dropped down to 14%. Easy enough. Now, never ever do this. If you don't believe me, you can talk to Michael. He'll have a story for you, right? But it's so cool if you do this. It's really cool. So it just plows through and doesn't ask any questions and just, oh wow, 5 minutes passed and I can't believe it. In order to use this superpower, you need to sandbox Claude. You need to do much more than just put it in a container. You need to put it into a Docker sandbox. So there are solutions for this, but be careful with that. Claude is crafty and can escape containment, let's put it that way. Okay, so with all this, we have we set up our skills, we set up our markdown files, we have a README, we have a project folder with a data folder and raw, and you have the source data from the from before. And then here's my prompt. Today, we are solving a data science challenge with Python. We have data files in the data folder. We need a propensity model predicting the likelihood that an account will convert to a higher tier subscription. Let's first plan. Let's first plan our approach. List all the steps we need and map their optimal order and interdependency. Now, because of Jeremy, I did this again. and did this in R. So I used to code in R, but haven't been able to find a job in that. So I haven't coded professionally in R I've just been coding in Python for years and years and years. So it was really fun to actually revisit R and produce modern R code. Yeah, okay, and so this is it. Start up Claude, plan mode on, drop the prompt in, and what do we get? What is actually created? This skill creates the source code, which is all the functions to handle the different stages. And you can see here, if you can read this, the source code has its own subdivisions of ingestion, modeling, storage, transformation, utilities, visualizations. That's just raw code files. Then I have a DuckDB database to store the raw and processed data so that I can always follow the full path through. I have notebooks. These notebooks are just calling the functions defined in the source folder. But they are human readable, they're literate programming. I can see the different steps. I don't use them for the pipeline, I use them for understanding whether the pipeline is doing anything that I needed to do. I need to understand what exactly the pipeline is doing. It gives me profile reports. I use Y data. I can show you. It basically just gives me, for the raw files and for the process files, what the feature column distribution is, what the value distribution in each feature column is. And then it produces dashboards, Streamlit, Shiny. And then I also always ask for standalone graphs dropped into the image folder so that I can converse with someone and send them just that graph, just that picture. And then last is the interdependency diagram of all the components. I'll show you this. So in the case of the Python code, these are the notebooks, ingestion, exploratory data analysis, and then feature engineering, modeling, model evaluations, and finally a summary notebook that is sort of text heavy, bringing in the business context, doing the final data storytelling. Here's a Streamlit dashboard for the matching, for the persona matching. There are different sides of that. You can have the sitter personas, the different personas of the providers and the seekers. And there's a little demo, so I can choose an entry and see what it recommends, see what are the closest matches to them. That's for Jeremy. Here's the R slide. This is what is in the source folder for R, all the ingest, raw ingest and validate, build labels, etc. It's the same process, but this is in the source code that runs in an automated pipeline, as opposed to the notebooks, which is for interactive running of it. I created I had a Shiny dashboard created for me. And this is a cool example of this. This is 5 minutes in, or less than 10 minutes in. and I spot this that I hadn't spotted before. Random forest and XGBoost complement each other in precision and recall. That's amazing. This is for the conversion probability, right? It's a classification of an account, whether it's going to convert to a higher subscription tier. Okay, and that tells me that if I take random forest, I can get all the accounts that it's going to send me. I can trust are very likely to be converters, and if I use the XGBoost, I can trust that I got the bulk of the accounts that might upgrade. So this is for low intensity or low effort conversion support, and this is for high intensity conversion support. Anyway, I hadn't noticed that before I did this. Okay, this is the diagram of all the dependencies. So so I get that for free as well. Now, but is this correct? That's the big question. This is the point where my job as a data scientist, where my role kicks in. Here's where I begin. I have all these components. I'm just not starting from raw files, raw data files, coding. I'm starting from insight generation. And I am, I'm rooted, I'm trained in the data, and I'm trained in the business context. But I'm working, I'm, pig in mud at this point. But it needs to be verified, of course. It's not immediately trusted. And I'll end on that note just by telling you that this is a pet peeve of mine. Hallucinations. Don't call them hallucinations. There's no such thing. Or it's all hallucinations, right? All models do is model inference. Sometimes that's useful. Sometimes it's not useful. And but it's the same thing. And it's for us to evaluate the output to see whether it is which side it falls on. But it's not hallucination and not hallucination. The model is doing exactly the same thing. It's model output. And that's just what we've always dealt with. And that's it. My final point, my final point is this. Hone your context craftsmanship, shift your attention. Stop focusing at the data level, at the code level. Start to think about the impact, bottom line, and what your actual purpose is. And get better at high-level evaluation. That's because that's where you're needed. That's where your skill is most useful now. Okay, and do come to see us at the Brighton Data Forum at the end of the month, where Andreas is going to give us a talk about bot dishonesty. Thank you very much. Sorry for going over.
Excellent talk again from Oskar. Have we got any questions in the audience? Please wait for the very little microphone I can possibly drop because I dropped it. I know it's not like that. I'm waiting for it. Questions? I've got one question back. Let me turn this on. I break little things like this. I go through clickers, microphones, and trust the viewers.
Hi, it's me again.
Hello.
Thank you for the presentation, and again coming from the marketing and data analysis. So basically, the reason I'm asking in that round because that's where I want to move into econometrics, marketing data science, and so I've got like two questions. One is if you were building a say marketing mix model from scratch, like marketing mix model will be the basic marketing place, product, the 4 P's of marketing, if you know them. that basically the cornerstone of business. You
Sure,
know, when you are doing a business, you need to check your the place where you're gonna make your business, the price, the promotion, how you're gonna promote that, and I can't remember the other one. Sorry, but yeah, you know, that's just the basic. So if you were creating building a model for a modeling approach, and variables, would you prioritize to accurately measure marketing effectiveness? And sorry, I think I'm asking a wrong question. Sorry, let me ask this one. Let me ask this one. What econometrics techniques do you find most robust? You know, when you're doing your data or machine learning approach, and why?
Thank you for the question. Wow. So this took me a little bit of a while to understand, but I actually learned slowly over time what my real value was to my stakeholders in the business. I thought it was because I studied physics, I had mathematics background, and very gung-ho scientist mentality. I thought it was all this calculation and computation and scientific approach and all that stuff. I learned, I guess it wasn't a disappointment really, but it felt like a little bit of a disappointment. I learned that my value was in the conversation with the stakeholder, wherein I find their pain point and drag them, kicking and screaming usually, from where they are at with their pain point, onto a place where we have a concrete question that can be answered by available data. Okay? Concrete question that can be answered by available data. The available data has some influence to it, because it's so easy to come up with a pain point that said, oh, we don't know whether we should expand in the Middle East or South America. We don't know whether we should go with this supplier or this place. The kind of decision support that data science is all about. Those are vague questions. Your data is unlikely to solve it, especially if your data is all in Europe, sales in Europe. It's just not going to answer that. But what you can guide them towards is, well, in this case, what do we know about those different markets? What data do we have from that? And we can answer very specific questions like, what is the median disposable income level, or whatever it is that's used. That kind of conversation is never easy. It's got very little to do with mathematics and statistics, but it is the value. The stakeholders will not get there on their own, and very few in the computational world of the IT departments can help them make that bridge. It's the data. I feel like it's the data scientists that do that kind of a bridging. And So in terms of what econometrics methods, those aren't really the statistical modeling methods. It's the discipline of getting to the concrete question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vicky.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Really, really good. Really, I really enjoyed that. Ask a question. Well, I have many questions, but Claude is obviously the best programming to do vibe coding. I'd say.
I'm a big fan.
What you're saying at the moment, unless it gets taken over by something else, or but with Claude being under I can think of the company now, but obviously
Anthropic.
With Anthropic, that's it. I'm just having a moment. But with what's happened with America. And obviously that situation, how does it stand if you were to do some sort of programming, and then do you have to clarify that you've used the Claude, and then if you were then to, supposedly, if you were to go to America, and you understand, I'm not getting into politics, but sort of like if they are not going to use that particular company and you're using their product to make your data, how does that stand, would you say?
Yeah,
because
so
that's quite a big market in the world.
Yeah, I currently work at a company that has clients that are largely European clients in regulated or semi-regulated industries, including defense industries. Data and model sovereignty is a very big issue for these cases. And so it didn't take a war in the Middle East or Anthropic's fight with the Pentagon for us to think along those lines. Because the earlier concern was just economic. OpenAI and Anthropic was pouring more money into the development and the building of the models than future revenues could likely catch up with. So they're bleeding money, and the future there's no rosy future for them. For them to catch up with all the money that they've invested, to get that as revenue, it's really hard to imagine how that's going to happen. So these companies might collapse just from the weight of their loans. Luckily, 2 points on that. When you have a harness, when you have this guidance for the model, when you put the model in a skull with sensory and organs and limbs, it matters less the brilliance of the model. It just matters less. There are open weight models. They're slightly weaker. They are actually, not far behind. That I don't have concerns about the future of the technology, even though individual players in that do not continue into the future. So I'm not concerned at that level. I think we will have options that are almost as good, and with the right harness, just as good in producing what we need. So I think that's I'll stop my answer there.
Thank you. Can I ask one other? Sorry.
Sorry. He owns the meeting. He owns the meeting. I'll answer another. I'll answer another if you.
Are there any more questions in the room? If there's no more questions, I'm going to let Vicky ask another one. Right. Last question.
Thank you. DeepSeek.
Mm-hmm. One of them.
I was just sort of wondering, I know you were talking about Claude, but I just wondered what your views were on DeepSeek with regards to doing a similar sort of thing instead of doing it through Claude.
Yeah, DeepSeek or Qwen. Qwen has a coder specific model. Those are eerily close to the frontier models. And what's more, they are trained at approximately 1% of the cost of ChatGPT's cost of training. So however they do it, possibly cheating by having ChatGPT help them train, but however they're doing it, it's so much cheaper and it's much more viable. And they're open weights. But there are other people in the room who know more about that than I do. If anybody wants to pipe in, if anybody wants to share their opinion, I'm not looking at anybody in particular, but go for it.
No, I just say there's quite a lot of open source models. IBM's got some, the Granite models that you can use. But yeah, it depends on the task that you're doing as well. So it's not necessarily always using the same model for every task.
Okay.
It's choosing what models work well with different tasks. But I think the point about constraints anytime you're using these AI models, the more constraints you've got, whether it's in the way you program or whether it's when you're using these tools by defining your prompts carefully. I think that's important, and as Oskar says, that's how you can use smaller models and use more of those sort of models with those constraints.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking questions. Thank you.
Brilliant. Right, we are out of time for questions, so let's have one final round of applause for Oskar, please. Excellent. Right, I have 5 more minutes in which not to break the clicker. I've got through many a clicker at these events. I've left them in hotels, I've left them on trains, and I've smashed them and dropped them. So my record for a brand new clicker is 10 minutes. This one's lasted a couple of years. Thank you very much for coming. For those of you that have come to our events previously, when we've been known as Brighton R or BrightonPy, you might have noticed and heard a fresh feel about this evening. Beautiful, fresh-looking banner. It still smells new as well. Take out the packaging. That smells new. Absolutely stunning, bringing together R and Pi. This is our new network across the UK. So we are now the Data Intelligence Network. As hopefully you will have seen and experienced tonight, same kind of people, same kind of vibe, same kind of event, just a little bit of a refresh and a rebrand. Why are we doing that? To bring all of our events across the country into one single network. So as you can see at the bottom here, you probably can't see from the back there, Brighton, Bristol, Birmingham, London, Portsmouth, Manchester, and I don't think I've forgotten any, which is great. But also, because we culminate all of these events, and the entire world, obviously, together in October for Earl. Hands up if you've been to or know of Earl. That's got some ex-speakers as well in the audience. Ex-speaker royalty. If you don't know about Earl, Earl is the Enterprise Applications of the R and Python language. It is a conference, a big mouthful, isn't it? Earl is an international data intelligence conference, and it brings together people from all over the world. We come together in Brighton in October every year, October the 6th to the 8th. We've got a day of workshops on the 6th, so that's real hands-on, get coding with your friends, with your mates, with your work colleagues, work on projects together, work on learning and upskilling yourselves in small or large groups of people. We then have 2 full conference days, so we've got groundbreaking keynote speakers. We've got industry speakers as well, and if you'd like to be one of them, I will tell you how you can get involved in a moment. We've got a wonderful evening event. We were at the Royal Pavilion last year. We were drinking wine, not red wine, not allowed apparently, but in that great dining hall. I was told red wine was not allowed in the building, no idea why, nothing to do with the carpets or anything like that. And we were at the i360 the year before, and we are very close to securing this year's evening event venue. Can't say much more yet, but another iconic place around the Brighton sphere. We'll have a panel as well, so we had a really insightful panel on, again, data intelligence and data within the business ecosystem last year, and we'll have another panel talk as well as our keynotes. We are also delighted, if you're on the Earl mailing list, you'll know this. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you might know this. If you don't know this, A, follow me on LinkedIn, and B, get on the Earl mailing list. We announced our first keynote last week. So we've got Nicola Rennie from ONS, who is going to be keynoting at Earl 2026. Nicola has done literally anything and everything. She's authored books on ggplot2. She does a lot of work with the Royal Statistical Society. She's co-edited books with them. She's on the Significance panel. She has done a heck of a lot, and she is probably a data visualization guru if you follow any of her stuff on social media. So she is going to be coming all the way down from probably one of the furthest north points in the UK to keynote for us at Earl this year. We are incredibly delighted. If you would like to join Nicola on stage, and I've started reading some of the abstracts that have come in already, including a few faces in the crowd I can see have submitted. If you would like to join Nicola on the stage, which means you get to come for free, it doesn't like free, there is still time. So we've extended the deadline. We did have it at the end of Feb. It's an October conference. There is still time. We thought, let's actually give people a little bit more time. Boring, gloomy months of the year. Nobody wants to be writing an abstract. So you've got until the end of March. If you scan this QR code here, that will take you to a form. Now, Earl, whilst its grassroots are in R and Python, we are looking at the entire data intelligence ecosystem. So if you have done something, if you've solved a problem with data, be it R, Python, be it building a dashboard in my favorite Power BI, I could go on about that for ages. Love Power BI, as everybody knows. Power BI, Tableau, anything like that. If you use SQL, if you use Rust, we don't mind how you solve the problem. It is all about solving business challenges. There is the form, fill it out. We judge everything blind. So it's not about picking our mates and the people that we like. We take all of the names, all of the companies, we take everything off. So we judge it blind. We want the best speakers on stage. And I can promise you, you will see the best speakers if you come and join us. That will take you to the abstracts. You'll find out more on the website if you want to come to World 2026. We've got 15% off all tickets at the moment. There are discounts if you work in academia, government, the NHS, and one more that I can't think of right now. That's not great, is it? Academia, government, NHS. We've got something else. Charity, there you go. Can't think of all of them off the top of my head. So do visit the website and come and chat to us if you want to find out more. A couple of things that we're running over the coming weeks. Back in this room, we love this room so much because we work in this building. We're running a direct mail workshop in a couple of weeks. So only £49. It's a hands-on whole morning workshop. We're running it with an associate of ours, Alex. So you're going to learn about the power of direct mail, how to use that to segment your customers, how to use customer segmentation to grow your database and grow your business. It's hands-on, it's practical, it's not preaching, it's not us standing at the front for several hours. Refreshments provided as well. Only £49 in this room. There's a few places left. I would register by the end of tomorrow if you're interested. I'm going to be completely honest about that. So if you're interested, details there, QR code, because we love our QR codes. If you love R and don't love Python, because obviously everybody does, we've also got a Shiny course next week. So 2-hour introduction to Shiny. It's completely virtual, so you can join from wherever you want in the world, whatever room you want to be in on that day. It's only £99 for 2 hours, and it will teach you how to get started and build your first Shiny app in R. If you like Shiny for Python, we do have those courses as well. None are being run at the moment, but we do train in lots of different technologies, so R, Python, Shiny, Power BI, my favourite, Looker, SQL, anything that you want. We also do a lot of kind of non-technical training. So if you're a team that want to understand how to tell better stories from your data, understand the theory behind econometrics or media mix modelling, we do all sorts of things like that as well. We have these Brighton Data Intelligence events every 2 months. So these are the dates for the rest of the year. If you're on meetup.com, most of you are, because you've managed to find yourselves here tonight. If you have found yourself here by not being on meetup.com, well done, because that's really, really tricky. So you've navigated the trickiest problem in the world. Join Meetup. These are the dates for the rest of the year. They will all be here in this room. As I said, it is the first data intelligence event. So we have brand new hex stickers. So please grab a hex sticker at the back. Please grab any other merch that you want. Do not be shy. You are allowed to take rubber ducks. I have about 400 at home. The only thing I say to everybody is, if you take a rubber duck, because people have done this in the past, and it really, really does kind of throw me off. If you take a rubber duck, please don't come and find me at a future event and tell me that you were thinking of me in the bath, because I really don't. Thank you very much. We are also all off to the pub, as we said, so we're going to the Dorset. If you don't know where the Dorset is, find your way back downstairs, turn right out of the building, and 2 minutes down the road. There's a lot of laughter in the back. Is there a mistake on this slide? There you go. We are going to the Dorset. Another reason for that is so that we can tidy up effectively, quickly and efficiently. It's not our way of getting you out of the building. We will be down to join you at the Dorset as soon as we've tidied up. So if anyone would like to lead the way, we will come and join you soon. Thank you very much and see you all in May.